So what's the advantage of making their ideas and how they're organized and interconnected public?
Well, I think it makes education a little more real. I think one of the issues we face in education is how to help students make connections between what they do in the classroom and their real life so that they're more invested in the classroom. And so as a culture, we take what's going on in schools and make change in ways. So by making it public, then it becomes more alive.
Okay.
That's the public part.
So everybody has their own natural preference, learning style, the way they like to learn and do things. Why is it important that the faculty member understand their personal style and how that relates to the class?
I think it's very important. I think if you care about the students getting the content, you have to be aware of who the students are and how they can accept the content. I think about it in terms of nutrition, and they say that the cells in your body more easily assimilate vitamins when you get them from foods than when you get them when they're in pills.
Okay. Do you think faculty members are naturally or have a tendency towards a bias that students who match their learning style will tend to do well in the class and students who don't will
I
do
think
poorly?
most of us academics have a bias to print literacy because that's how most of us are assessed in the university. So myself included, we have to make a conscious effort to become aware of other learning styles.
So what impact do you think this has had on your students' ability to learn in your class?
I think it's had quite a big impact. I'm personally an exploratory learner, and I have a high tolerance for chaos and ambiguity. So when I first started teaching, that's how I ran my classes, and I was like, you're going to explore and find something out at the end. So of course my course evaluations came back with low scores and makes objectives clear. So now I organize my class with objectives, and I do unit reviews so that the students who need more of that scaffolding have it. That's one thing. And so I've seen my objectives clear category go quite low, right? If you're lower, it's better.
Okay. Tell me a little bit, you say you're exploratory and you like chaos. So classroom facilities, do they help you or hinder you in that?
Well, I think the classroom comes with a bunch of associations that create order, and the students sit there quietly in their desks and they expect to receive the information that the teacher gives to them.
Sitting at the head of the class and you're going to deliver all the information.
So I try to disrupt that in some ways, and again, the post-draft outline I was talking about I think helps because the students are suddenly standing up. They're not sitting at the desk. They don't have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. They have a sheet of paper that's about 2 feet by 3 feet. So I destabilize the conventions, and I think that sort of slight chaos, I don't want to make them too uncomfortable, helps them do something different.
And are they like fish out of water initially? Is this a very new and uncomfortable environment for them?
I think the first time I did it, it was uncomfortable because I hadn't quite refined it either, but because my students have usually been with me for about 6 weeks before we do this, they're accustomed to me asking them to innovate in the classroom.
Okay. And in terms of your own satisfaction with your own teaching, how has changing your model affected you?
Oh, it's really skyrocketed. It really has. The sense of exploration and taking risks and understanding it might not work the first time, but I'm going to get feedback from my students and refine it and keep trying has been tremendous. And I share that with my students. And I do post-draft outlines with them while they're doing theirs. Okay. So they see me as a fellow explorer.
And what were the biggest challenges in changing the way you thought and taking this approach?
I think in the beginning I was a little scared that another teacher would walk by and look through the window and be like, what's going on in Wade's class? All the kids are standing up, sticking Post-its everywhere.
Exactly. Things are out of control.
It's out of control. But then I think having the concrete assessment when the students are saying, no, actually the objectives are clear and my students are passing their portfolios helps counteract this.
So it's interesting. So as long as you make your learning objectives clear, that the students know that the chaos is intentional, that it's part of the learning process, they're willing to accept it. But if you're not really clear with that, then you're going to have some problems.
Exactly, yep. That's a good way of summarizing it.
Okay. So what's next?
Well, I would like to do a quantitative research study, actually, and see if this mobile post-draft outline really works, because I can tell in a very subjective way. But I would like to get some other people involved and see if there's any difference in the students' perceptions of writing and in their concrete results in terms of their papers. I'm also bringing it into the Writing Center at Stony Brook, Southampton I want to have the students not only do this mobile post-draft outline, but bring in the sense of experimentation and play, so the students aren't always wedded to this or to the computer screen, but that they're looking at things bigger, their ideas are getting bigger, and so they feel like they count more.
And hopefully now, rather than worrying about faculty accidentally peeking in on you, you'll actually be inviting your college to say, come and look at how I do this.
Exactly.
So, question for the audience. Why is it important for a faculty member to understand his, her, or her own learning style? The answer when we return.